Hi, my name is Heather Anderson, and I teach sophomore English, 10th grade English, at Health Sciences High and Middle College. I'm going to discuss how I use my Haiku page with Blended Learning and the gradual release of responsibility. So let's go ahead and get started. I covered a unit on our essential question, which we use St. Lucy's Home for Girls Raised by Wolves, which is a short story. And our essential question was about, does age matter? So on each one of my pages, I always have the purpose stated, as you can see at the top up here. So the purpose was for students to read the short story, cite evidence, analyze characters, and look at the character development while looking at, does their age influence the formation of their identity throughout the story? Now, in the past, I have viewed Haiku as more of a filing cabinet where students can go to access handouts and different information that have been passed out during class. I was forced to change my view and make Haiku more interactive because I was going to be out of town for part of the unit. So I want to explain how my philosophy changed regarding Haiku and how it became much more interactive, which allowed me to use much more of the gradual release of responsibility with the blended learning, using Haiku as my tool. So one of the things that I needed to do was make the short story accessible for all learners. So this could be English language learners, students with IEPs, students who are more visual, auditory. I needed to make the story accessible. So what I did is I did an audio recording, right here you can see this, of the short story. And I went in, recorded it, and then uploaded it to my Haiku page. Having the audio version allowed the students to be able to track the short story visually while annotating their comments and thoughts while listening to the audio version of the story. So one of the things I did is a discussion board, which you can see up here, the initial thoughts. And after students read the story for the first time, I really wanted them to just focus on, what do they think? What are their questions, their wonderings, their opinions about the story? So as you can see here, I have many posts from students. And what the students did was they would make comments about their initial thoughts. Let's go ahead and take a look at Marlena's. And she's asking about how she enjoyed the story, but how does it relate to the essential question with age? And students underneath Marlena were able to respond, and I also responded. So we started this actual discussion about how it applies to the essential question, and then that allows students to comment and give feedback on one another. So this was a really powerful way for me to be able to inform my instruction, is through the initial thoughts. Let me see what confusion students had. And then I was able to change my teacher moves in the classroom to help clarify and push on any wonderings and questions that they had. It was really powerful. I decided to have another discussion board where students were able to post their thesis statements. Through their thesis statement posts, I was able to give them immediate feedback. Now, I did some teacher modeling, as you can see here. The first post has my initial sample thesis paragraph and thesis statement, and I asked students what they thought about my thesis statement and my introduction paragraph. Then each student posted what they thought their thesis statement or introduction paragraph would be. I gave them immediate feedback, and students were then able to go back and access many other students' potential thesis statements and introduction paragraphs. This made the learning interactive. I was able to give them immediate feedback. I was able to assess where students were at, even though I was actually out of town when all of these posts took place. So the thesis statements were fantastic. They were able to see modeling, they were able to get feedback, and it definitely helped them formulate more powerful essays. The thesis statement and introduction paragraph discussion board also was a great way to have some guided instruction. I was able to have students go and look at other students' thesis statements to help strengthen their own, which was a crucial part of the gradual release of responsibility is the guided portion. And so although it felt foreign to me to do this online, it was very effective for the students. At the end of the unit, we formulated different charts, and I had some of the charts that I made myself, and students also created charts of their own. So we looked at having some introducing quotes in my writing, just some more traditional ways for students to formulate their essays. And then what we did was we co-constructed charts in class that identified characters and their identity. And we specifically looked at portions of the story where students could go back and cite evidence to use in their writing when they were actually doing their independent work, putting their essays together. Now, the interesting part of this is that students were able to go back, since I posted it on Haiku, and they were able to reference this over the weekend and see all the different classes' charts and find places where they could go back and cite evidence to use in their independent work. So once again, I'm reinforcing the gradual release of responsibility and making this a blended learning tool with Haiku by using these charts for their independent work. And again, these were co-constructed with the teacher, myself, and the students, and then posted for students to reference in the past. It was really wonderful to see students collaborate on that. Now, on top of the discussion boards and the audio recording, I do have resources for students on the page. So we do have the actual short story itself, so that students can access the short story if they lose their copy. I have the rubric and checkoff list located on the page as well. All of that is always located at the top for them. Vocabulary challenges where students might need access to a vocabulary chart and different skills and strategies to help solve problematic words and parts in the story. And then they also were given language and writing frames to help them when they're doing their independent work. Another area that I posted for students to access was the third discussion board, and this truly was an area for students to go ahead and post any questions, confusions, wonderings that they have. And as you can see here, one of my students, Alasia, actually posted that she forgot how to write a thesis statement. And normally, I think she would have been fearful to ask this in front of her peers, but given this forum, she was able to let me know that she had a moment where she forgot how to write the thesis statement, and I was able to give her immediate feedback. Not only that, she then was able to go back to the other discussion board where students have posted their actual thesis statement. So it was extremely powerful to have this open discussion board throughout the entire unit where students could go and clarify any questions or concerns. Now, thinking into the future on how to continue to make Haiku more interactive, I definitely want to look at having discussion boards that really force students to respond to one another instead of just commenting for the sake of commenting. And that really falls back on me as the teacher, I feel, to make sure that the wording is meaningful, that the question that I'm asking really requires them to dig deeply and to read each other's comments and feedback to make more meaning of the text that they're accessing. I'm also thinking about doing some sentence frames and language frames to help the academic language online. I think that that's an area of weakness that I think we can definitely improve upon. And then I want to continue to make the learning and the reading accessible to all learners. So I'm curious about how to continue to do things such as the audio version of the short story. Maybe it is reading certain passages where students can access highlights of a novel or a story that are really pertinent to their independent work. So I'm really starting to look at making this interactive, making it a lot more meaningful and not just a filing cabinet for students. And I feel that this unit really pushed on me as a teacher to do just that. So I'm excited about how to continue the blended learning in the classroom.